Welcome back to Emergence, Leading from the Field. In today's episode, we're going to be exploring systems as living fields, leading with a felt sense of the whole. My name is Artemis and I am so glad that you are joining me again. Or perhaps you're joining me for the first time. In the last solo episode, we explored the body as a field, the role of presence, and sensation in embodied leadership. Today, we are going to expand that outward, from the personal to the systemic, from the body to the systems that we inhabit. Our teams, our families, our organizations, our communities, and even the movements and the projects that we are stewards for. Because here's the thing, systems are not static. And they're not just structures. They are living, breathing fields. They are dynamic constellations of energy. They have a history. They have relationships. And they have memories. In Conscious Business, we talk about the energetic vortex that we create in organizations. It's that energetic field that takes the business forward, that creates its own consciousness, its own sense of self. And really, if we want to lead effectively and ethically within those systems, we need to learn how to sense and how to respond to the field of the system itself. Not just the surface behaviors or, strategies or game plans. So that's what we will be exploring here today. Now, it may sound a bit funny to hear me say that systems are alive, because to be fair, most of us were taught to see systems really mechanistically, like machines, right? An organization has departments and workflows and KPIs. A family has roles, traditions, expectations. A community has a kind of tribal mentality around who's in the in group and who's in the out group. A team has goals, deliverables, feedback loops. But, in reality, every system is way more than the sum of its parts, because each system has collective memory. And this is really shaped by what's been said and what's been left unsaid. It has unspoken dynamics, loyalties, exclusions, unresolved conflicts, the proverbial elephant in the room. It has a particular tone, a mood, or an emotional kind of climate. And importantly, it has an intelligence or a deep-seated wisdom, an unconscious knowing that really shapes what can and cannot emerge. So when we begin to work with systems this way as living fields, we're no longer just solving problems. We're listening, we're attuning, and we're responding from a deeper layer. So, sensing the field, what does that mean? What does it mean to sense the field of a system? If you have done any work with the Presencing Institute out of MIT with Professor Otto Sharma, you'd be familiar with the sensing of the field, with the sensing of what wants to emerge and the sensing and a deep knowing and leaning into a system. And what does that system want us to know? And perhaps where is that system heading? So, as with the body, sensing into a system starts with presence. But really, here is where we widen that lens. Imagine walking into a room, walking into a meeting, for example, and, you know, before a single word is spoken, you often feel the mood, right? You can sense the space. Is it tense or is it light? Is there an openness? Is there a curiosity? Is there a willingness? Or is it guarded? Has that space cut down? Are people speaking from the surface, right? Or is something deeper being held just beneath? So this is the field. This is the field. And we're all constantly in relationship with it, whether we realize it or not. So the ability to lead from the field means, I guess, a sense of really noticing what's here, what's there, what's beneath the words, allowing ourselves to sense what's emerging, even before it's spoken, and recognizing when something is stuck or is incomplete. So holding space where the whole system can, I guess, reorganize itself towards coherence. So I'd love to share a story with you. It's an experience that I had with a leadership team that I was supporting quite a few years ago. And I had been brought in as a consultant to support this team. And on the surface, the team was high functioning, right? They were productive, they were strategic, they were aligned, they were stuck on this one big decision. And it was a strategic decision. And it had to do with, taking the organization forward. And they kept circling, they kept delaying. There was a lot of shutting down of other people's viewpoints. There was an avoidance of clarity. I guess there was also an environment of assumptions, a lot of assumptions. And when I came in, I invited them to kind of slow down a little bit. So we slowed down together, and I took them through this journey of leading into a more kind of embodied and systemic sensing. What wanted to emerge here? What was the system wanting to move into or to become or to transform into? And what was required of them to support the system to do this? So I remember in one of our sessions, one particular team member who had stayed quite quiet um, for the majority of our time together finally spoke, and he said, "I feel like there's this elephant in the room, right? And we're all pretending it's not there. We're just avoiding it, but we all know it's here. Like, let's just tackle it head on, right? Like, enough." And everyone froze. And what emerged was this acknowledgement from the team of a long-standing dynamic. There was a predecessor who had been pushed out without explanation, and whose absence was really shaping everything that was going on in that team unconsciously. And once that was named, and it was called out for what it was, and it was really gentle, and it was really respectfully that it was brought to the surface, that the entire field shifted. It just shifted. These walls came down, and people softened into the room and into that sharing with each other. And that decision that was really strategic about how to move the organization forward, it had felt impossible before this acknowledgement. It became clear within minutes, within minutes. So weeks and weeks of circling and circling and circling, and it was just resolved. And you might ask yourself, why? Why so quickly? What moved? What's so special about that realization that allowed them to transform that experience? It's because the system itself had been holding something that was unacknowledged, right? It was there, and it hadn't been brought forward, it hadn't been seen, it hadn't been acknowledged. And once it was seen, the energy could flow again. So it was like there was a blockage. So this is the systemic work that I speak of. This is conscious business work, right? And this is leadership from the field. This is what it means to be able to step into that and speak what wants to be spoken and shine the light on what needs to be seen. Now, the core principle is that every system wants to return to wholeness, right? It wants to come back to balance. It wants to come back to equilibrium, just like our bodies do. Our bodies want to be in that perfect state, homeostasis, where everything is working as it should and everything is regulated and our nervous system is in check, and we are able to communicate with all parts of our body and take ourselves forward. So this applies to these systems, right? Not just our bodies. And really, it's a return. It's a return to wholeness. Every system, whether it's family, whether it's an organization, whether it's your community or a social movement, it seeks wholeness. It seeks balance. It seeks equilibrium. It wants all parts to be seen, right? It wants this balance. It needs it. It wants this inclusion. It wants everything to be in flow. But when parts of it are pushed aside, so, people or truths or histories are excluded or repressed or remain unacknowledged, the system will become fragmented. And this is what happens. This is what starts to appear. There's confusion. There's burnout. There are repetitive conflicts. It could be sabotage, self-sabotage, or sabotage of projects and products, and it may not even be conscious. That's the beauty of it, that it could be completely unconscious, but it's happening because it's part of that systemic energy. And there's a lack of momentum oftentimes. Now, the key is not to fix the symptom, right? The key is not to try to tackle the sabotage or the burnout or the repetitive conflict. No. The key is to stop, enter the field of presence, and listen to what the system is trying to say. So it's an opportunity to welcome back what's been excluded, to restore connection, perhaps where it's been lost. So this is a great kind of segue into systemic constellations and seeing the invisible. One of the most profound tools I've used in this work is called systemic constellations. And what that is a way of mapping out the invisible dynamics of a system using people or objects to represent key elements. Now, it might sound abstract, but it's deeply intuitive, and it is so powerful. In a constellation, we often see who or what is carrying too much. where we see where energy is blocked and isn't able to flow freely. We see who or what has been forgotten. And we also get to see what needs to be seen for healing or for clarity to emerge. Now, you don't need to facilitate constellations to work systemically, right? And it is a beautiful practice and it's quite a unique skill set. But you do need to slow down. And this is really an invitation to start to look at your own systems in a different way, right? And lean into it. Listen. What does it want you to know? What's that elephant hiding, right? If you get the elephant out of the way, what's behind it? Sense into the wholeness of the system. What is missing? What is missing to be able to restore the balance, the equilibrium? So I'm going to take you through a beautiful practice, which will kind of allow you to sense the field of a system that you're in. And I'd love to try this with you. And I think that this is something really powerful that you can then take back into your own organizations or your communities or your projects and start to embody this a little bit more. So take a moment to bring to mind a system that you are a part of right now. Now, it could be a work team. It could be a project that you're leading. It could be in your family. Perhaps it's a client relationship, or even a space that you're creating or holding. So just take a moment to bring that to your attention and to bring that to your mind. And once you have that in your mind's eye, just bring it now, bring the system into your awareness. And if you feel safe and comfortable to do so, I invite you to close your eyes if that's available to you, or perhaps you might just like to just gently rest your eyes so that, they're just gently kind of glancing. And just take one big, deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And imagine now this system as a field, not just people, not just roles, not just titles, not just structures, but an energetic space. Okay, so imagine that your system is an energetic space and allow yourself to just take one step forward into that field, into that energetic space. So just take that step forward in your mind's eye and begin to notice, what do you feel in your body as you imagine being inside this system? Is there perhaps tension? Or maybe you're feeling really open to being in this field. Is there any resistance that perhaps is coming up for you? Are there any voices or parts of the system that perhaps you can feel are being left out? What's the overall mood of this field? Just take a moment to just experience it. And we're not here right now to fix anything or to label anything or to solve anything. We just want to be with it. Just allow the system to speak to you, not through thoughts, but through feelings, through the body. Just take a deep breath in through the nose, going deeper into the sensing as you stay in this field. And now imagine offering this field quality, perhaps like space or warmth or inclusion. Just imagine gently holding the whole system in that quality. And just give yourself a moment to experience what that feels like. And when you're ready, you can return to the present moment. Just bring your awareness back to your fingers, your toes. You can wiggle them a little bit. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. So I hope through that practice that you got a bit of a sense of what it means to step into that system's energy, to step into that system's field. And the reason why this matters for leadership isn't just about direction. It's not about running. It's not about getting to from A to B. It's about holding. It's about sensing what's needed in the whole, what's needed to bring things back to equilibrium, to balance. And really, it's about making space for this to emerge. When we lead from the field, we become more attuned to patterns we couldn't see before. We notice what's ready to shift. We create environments where people feel safe and where truth can emerge with vulnerability. And when that happens, we build trust, coherence. We allow for creativity and for curiosity. And this kind of leadership is subtle, but it's really profound. And in a world that's craving new ways of being, it matters now more than ever. So thank you for walking with me into the field today. If this episode stirred something in you, perhaps a memory or curiosity or even a discomfort, that's welcome. That's part of this process. Let it stay with you. Let it work you gently. You can always find more of my work and resources at artemisevangelidi.com. And I would love for you to share this episode with someone who's navigating leadership in a complex space, or perhaps who wants to lean into a system in this way and lean into what wants to emerge. In my next solo episode, we will be exploring the power of the pause and why rest, silence, and stillness are not just self-care, but essential capacities for emergent leadership. Until then, keep listening, keep sensing, and keep trusting the field. Yours in presence, Artemis.